Harlem has its own radio station, WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem.
Hey, Night Watchman, how
All
you
right,
doing, buddy?
DJ LeRoy. It's Monday night in the city.
Yes,
and
it
we
is.
are here.
Hey, man, oh my God, was this a serious weekend for sports?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Can you say Tiger from the abyss?
Right now, there are a lot of.
I hear some Tiger fans out there.
Right.
April 11th, Tiger Woods Day.
That's it. Renaming, baby.
Yeah, except it wasn't the 11th; it was the 14th.
I know. Actually, he's talking about when he first started down the road.
Oh,
Probably.
right.
Okay, so that's
right.
good. That's
okay.
good. You know.
So, a lot of people celebrating Tiger's return to the big stage. A lot of people awfully quiet because he had a lot of haters who declared that he'd never win another championship again and he was done. He was through. Why didn't he retire? Mm-hmm. Those people are all eating crow today.
Where are they?
They're eating crow.
Oh, got it.
They're having crow sandwiches, crowfoot soup, roast crow.
You know what? And let's not lose sight of the fact too that you had a twice in a row champion also come not from pole position but from second position to win, of course, the Chinese Grand Prix.
And you're talking about Lewis Hamilton, of
the
course.
one, the only,
Yes.
buddy. The one, the only.
Right.
So yes, and poised right now to, you know what, maybe take his third in a row.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you know, Lewis. So yes, very, very nice. So you know what? Hey, we got some guests lined up, right?
We have, a little later on the show. We're
Okay.
gonna have a few community activists in here. But for now, I think we should play a little music.
I'm going to do something, and then you're going to hit me off?
I got you right behind it.
Okay, here it goes.
Here we go.
I see you reaching, baby. What are you reaching for? That don't look easy, baby. That must be so hard. I see you reaching out, stretching out to God. That don't look easy, baby. That must be so hard. Baby, I feel your pain, but you shine, save you now. It's what I won't do, what I won't do. Keep trying. I ain't trying to save you now. I feel your pain, but you're trying to save you now. It's what I won't do, what I won't do. I see you reaching, baby. What are you reaching for? That don't look easy, baby. That must be so hard. I see you reaching out, stretching out to God. That don't look easy, baby. That must be so hard. I see you too much, baby. I need to take some space. You kiss me too much, baby. Forgot to wipe my face. I treat you too much, baby. Why don't you ever pay? I think you're too much, baby. I need to pump my brakes. I think I'm doing way too much. How Sit your ass down somewhere. Whoa. Settle down, settle down, settle down. I'm giving this up, baby, before I blow my brains. I see you next lifetime, baby. What did Badu say? You'll always be loved, baby, the one that got away. Let's keep in touch, baby. I got your number saved. I got you, babe. I think I'm doing way too much. Way too much. Way too much. How can one thing mean so much to you and so little to me? Don't mean much to me. I think you're doing way too much. Settle down. Way too much. Somebody needs to calm you. I think you're doing way too much. I think you're way too much. Somebody needs to calm you. I think you're doing way too much. Settle down. Way too much, yeah. Somebody needs to calm you down. I think you're doing way too much. Settle down. Way too much. Somebody needs to calm you down.
I can see the darkness in me and it's quite amazing. I can see the darkness in me and it's quite amazing. Life and death is no mystery and I wanna taste it. Step inside of my mind and you'll find curiosity, animosity, high philosophy, I can prophesize meditation. Reminisce on my wonder years and I wonder here. Sentiments in my words ain't been so sincere. The sentiment to my nerve that I just persevere. The big thought of falling off disappear to my faith. They say that hell is real. Analyze my demise, I say I'm super anxious. Recognize I deprive this feeling, then embrace it. Vandalizing these walls only if they can talk. Conversations on contemplate to my dark thoughts. Looking down on my soul now. Tell me I'm in control now. Tell me I can live long and I can live wrong and I can live right and I can sing song and I can unite with you that I love, you that I like. Look at my life and tell me I fight. It's that final destination. It's that fancy information. It's that fancy inspiration. It's that crack the installation. It's that quantum jumping, that fist pumping, that bomb detonation. Please don't bomb my nation. And bomb me flew waiting. I got my control when I'm here. You gon' hate me when I'm gone. Ain't no blood pumping, no fear. I got hope inside of my bones. It's that life beyond your own life. This ain't physical for mankind. It's that out of body experience. No coincidence, you been died. It's your death.
Say you would never ever catch me up.
Night Watchman. Tell me about this.
That was Flying Lotus featuring Kendrick Lamar.
Okay,
Called
very nice.
Never Catch Me.
Very nice indeed.
You never catch me sleeping.
Every now and then, you know what? You throw some curves out here, man.
Every now and then, man. I'm like Dwight Gooden at age 19, man. I always got a curveball for you.
Man. Okay, so before that, you didn't know that was good old Anderson .Paak.
I did not, no.
Okay.
But I didn't say you wouldn't have one for me.
Oh, okay. Good. So we got some serious guests
We
on
got
the
some
show.
guests in here, yeah.
Okay.
So we've got some great community activists here, starting out with Mark McPhee, who is probably the hardest working man in community activism. He's with Harlem Emergency Network, Circle of Brothers, and probably 7 other organizations, but those are the ones I know.
Yeah, Harlem Liberation School, just to name a few. But, you know, it's very important that we stay connected to our communities, and we also have to pay attention to what's going on in our communities, and also band with those who are trying to make something happen positive in our communities.
Nice.
So I have some lovely guests that are here today. And
Okay.
So you brought some friends along. So next on the mic is Carmen Quinones.
come on, girls,
Hey,
sing
how
that
y'all
song.
doing? What's good? Everything else is good except New York City Housing Authority.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We
Yes.
got to talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, we
Now,
gotta
Carmen,
talk.
you brought a friend with you as well.
Oh yes, I brought my friend Roxanne Reid. She is from Castle Houses.
Wow.
And
Nice.
right in the Bronx, and they too have a lot of things going on. I mean, we'll talk about that. Roxanne, say hello.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Roxanne.
Welcome to Soul Lounge Prime
And
Time.
especially being that, you know, she's from BX. BX.
Hey,
I have
we
to say
are-
Roxanne. just so you know.
So you know.
So, Mark, where do you want to start this thing off?
Well, I say, you know, one of the things I want to make very clear that when the Honorable Carmen Quinones met with number 45, she made it plain to him that she was not.
Wait, you buried the lead.
Yeah,
So,
yes. You met with 45?
Yes, I met with 45.
Wow.
In D.C.?
Yes, I was in the White House.
What?
Front page of the Amsterdam News
Get out.
3 weeks ago.
Go ahead.
Tell the
I
tale.
had to do that. I had to listen. He's the president.
Yes, he is.
And
Yes, he is.
that's all that really matters to me. This is not about Republican or Democrat. This is about lives, human lives that we're talking about. And so after paving the pavement and getting everyone out here, even, you know, the governor came and they did all this hoopalage and nothing still was happening. And so I said, you know, I was on the Monica Make It Happen show. Me and Monica are very close, and I've been on her show a lot. And so on that show, I asked that the government step in, that the federal government should step in, because this is now a real crisis. We have children with lead, you know, that'll never, ever be the same again, right? And no one's going to jail. No one's being held accountable. And so, you know, I said, wait a minute, you know, I got to get my president involved no matter what. And so let me tell you something. You know, I'm a Puerto Rican. I was in Hurricane Maria. I barely survived there, almost died there. And so I wasn't very happy about going to see this president.
Right, because you knew
because
the
of what
response.
he did.
That's right.
Because of
Yeah.
what he did in Puerto Rico. But sometimes you have to swallow your pride and be humble enough. And I believe in my God. And so I said, I represent 4,600 people. Carmen, this is not about you today. It's about going to see what we can do to get what we need for public housing. These repairs, I mean, they're awful. You've seen them on TV.
Yeah.
This is an everyday thing. There's not one day, and I think Roxanne can tell you about that as a president. We don't get paid for this, okay? This is volunteer, all right? And every day, you know, I got phone calls. I don't sleep. I've got insomnia now. You know, I mean, come on, really. You know, every day is a problem. And so I thought that it would be best for me to reach out to the president. And that's what I did. And then Lynn Patton, who I love, I think you really got to give this woman a chance. People
Now,
are
can you
really
explain
attacking her.
Explain for our listeners who Lynn Patton is.
Lynn Patton is the regional director of HUD.
Okay.
She's the one that's been staying in people's houses. As a matter of fact, she stood in my house. All right.
Okay.
And yes, she slept in the living room on a blowout couch, on a blowout bed. And we did a tour. And you could see. You have to if you don't have a heart, then you're not gonna feel what's going on. And we have to be really honest about what is going on. That even our people, our Democrats, are selling us out. And that's really the bottom line. We can put the blame on anybody you want to put it. You can say the president this, the president that. Our local elected officials are selling us out all day long, every day. When is this going to stop? And we have to we got to put the blame where the blame is.
And
because everybody has blame here.
And one of the things that I really appreciate of what the Honorable Carmen Quinones has done, like she said, she could have went to our local elected officials.
I did.
But she, and which she did, but she wanted to go to the top. And so the buck stops at the White House. And so you got to, I've always been taught to give credit where credit was due. And she let him know under the whole uncertain circumstances, I'm not here for a photo op. I'm here to get stuff done.
Yeah, that was so funny, Mark. I mean, you would have really been proud of me because when I got there, they didn't even want to let Lynn in. And mind you, she works for the president. And so this guy comes up to me and tells me, well, listen, this is how we're going to do this. You're going to go over here. You're going to go in. And then you're going to stand in the middle. And you're going to take a picture with the president and the first lady. And in my mind, I'm saying, oh, hell no. This ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen like this.
They didn't know who they was getting.
Okay? So, and that's just what happened. I go in. I get in the middle, and he says, oh, just look forward. I said, I didn't come in here for no, and I was gritting my teeth, but I was serious. I was gritting my teeth, and I said, I did not come in here for no photo op. I came in here to talk about the crisis in New York City housing and how me and you can work together to get this done. And and furthermore, you have the person that invited me here standing out there, and she works for you.
Wow.
He stopped in the middle.
Good,
he stopped.
Good.
He put his hand out, and he's called Lynn's name twice. Made Lynn come in, turned to me and said, "We're gonna talk."
Gotcha.
And then said, "You know I hate Bill Clinton. I mean, I'm sorry, Bill. Not you, baby. I hate De Blasio."
De Blasio.
And I looked at him and I said, I'm very discouraged with him also. Because, I mean, this mayor is out of touch. Really out of touch. And so that's how it led. I had 20 minutes with Pence. And let me tell you something. I thought that, I mean, all these years I was looking at him. I said, yeah, that's going to be the one that ain't nobody going to really like. But let me tell you, I had a very good conversation with him. And him and his wife, Karen. And by the end of our conversation, he looks at me. He says, you are a fireball and you should run for mayor. But it was a very respectful meeting. They treated me very well.
And bottom line, if they can, you can make a pact with the devil. If the devil can get the stuff done, then that's what you want, and so that's what you hopefully will see come out of this.
Yes. And we're praying. I mean, there's a lot of things being done, and I'm sure that. A lot of people were upset to hear that the cuts were coming down to NYCHA, but they didn't sign that budget yet, and until they sign it, I ain't saying a word.
Okay.
But it's gonna go down.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen, but it can go down. It's gonna go down.
So you only had a few minutes to talk. What were the things that you put in front of him that you were most concerned with?
What I did tell the president is that I really believe that he needs to put more money in. And that I really wanted to know what would it take for us, even if it's me, what would it take for me? What would it take me to get things done? What do you want from me to get this done. It's the same thing I asked Milan, his wife, the first lady. I said, what I want you to do is come to New York. You need to come to New York and meet with the parents and the children that have led. And they said that they were going to do, and she stopped and she said that she was going to do this. So I'm looking forward to
she's
the first lady to come.
She's supposed to be a big, youth advocate. So
Exactly.
let's see. Okay.
So I'm very excited about that also. We did get a few things, done. I mean, it wasn't an elaborate conversation. And at the end of the day, he looked at Lynn Patton and said, I want you to take care of her. And I want you to take care of Lynn. So me and Lynn are very close. We're working. We've made a couple of presentations already. I've sat with not only Lynn Patton, but I've also sat with the New Monitor. And so we are getting things done. I'm putting things in writing.
And so back up for a second. So a monitor is the one who's going to oversee in terms of any work that needs to be done?
Not only oversee what work needs to be done, but where the money is going. There's never been transparency on where the money is. There's been a lot of corruption in New York City Housing Authority. There's a lot of money missing. We need to investigate that. We've actually asked for a forensic audit, which Lynn Patton is proceeding to do. She has proven to be, for now, because people change.
Right.
But right now, this girl, Lynn Patton is on the money. She's on it. She's talking to the residents. It's been good.
And you've had some interaction with, let's say, NYCHA before in previous administrations.
Yes.
But not to this level or seeing this type of forward action.
Well, actually, I went against Giuliani when he was mayor, and I got rid of Ruben Franco, who was the chair at that time, because we were talking about lead. I don't know if you remember the stairwell fires that happened in public housing.
Yeah.
Actually, it was in Douglas houses.
Wow.
And I made that national. I was on Good Morning New York with Giuliani every day until I got rid of that chair. And we got rid of Ruben Franco. 2 people died in that stairwell fire. And I was the one that got rid of all the lead paint that were in the stairwells all over New York. Yes.
So they had to remove the stuff that after years and years and years.
Yeah,
okay.
Painting over the same thing. Painting over the same thing, and that's
I
why
don't
you
know
find
how many coats in there.
Yeah,
but
now you're finding it in the apartments because they've never gotten rid of it. So, we're looking forward to doing it. But I want to let my girl Roxanne talk a little bit about what's happening in Castle Hill.
Yep.
Because Castle Hill has a lot of problems also.
Okay, BX, you on?
All right. It's a lot of that's going on in Castle Hill right now. I do a lot of door knocking. I go to a lot of people's homes. I had a 85-year-old lady that haven't had her apartment painted for almost 25 years.
My God.
Wow.
And when I went into her apartment, it was a lot of peeling and
Yeah.
She had a piece of tape on the wall that was holding the plastic together. And I kept making phone calls and told them, this old lady needs some help here. I'm saying, how y'all going to treat this old lady like that with her living in city housing with inhaling the mold and the mildew in her apartment. I had one young man where he had a leak in his apartment where I went and filmed it. And it was like that for 7 days. He couldn't get nobody to come out. So he grabbed me and Miss Roxanne come with me to my house. I came to the house. He had a puddle of water where it was dripping from the kid's bedroom, from the pipe. And when I filmed it, I put it on Facebook Live, and then I went to management office and told them, why is this young man has to wait 7 days for his apartment to be fixed? So he got on the phone and called somebody up real quick and then told me, she said she going to go to the news. I said, I am. Because you know what? These kids can't be in here held in this. There's a fire hazard. I said, what about the people downstairs? The water's going to their house.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And then you're going to tell me it's just a mist and a pipe? I don't want to hear about no mist. That's water. I said, it's bad for people to sit there and hell us.
Exactly.
And
what do I have a maintenance crew at NYCHA if they don't respond to these emergencies?
Well, I'm going to see for a moment on that, because our maintenance workers are they're actually being abused. used. That's number one. Number two is we don't have enough maintenance workers or caretakers in these developments. And so when it comes to a building of 20 stories, you got one maintenance worker doing that whole building.
No, they can't.
That
Yeah,
is
right.
yes.
Okay.
And a lot of them are going out with slip this, with that. How do you expect them to work if you're not giving them the tools to work with? In a 20-story building, you're supposed to have, by law,
2 workers.
2 workers. 2 workers. And that is not the case. So while we can talk about what caretakers don't do, let's talk about what you should do for the caretakers. So there are a lot of different things that we need to really be addressing. But most of all, we need to be addressing the corruption in New York City housing and how this mayor has not done anything. And I'm really surprised at Mayor de Blasio. I know Mayor de Blasio over 25 years. I've been in the trenches 25 years. 35
So you knew
years.
him when he was council member and then
Honey, I knew him when, okay? So, you know, it's just sad, right? It's like me and you have a friendship for 25 years, right? And all of a sudden, you just turn on me,
Wow.
right? And that's how I feel with Mayor de Blasio.
So literally, he's not even taking your calls.
Oh, he'll take my calls because he don't want me to go on TV. But you know what? The beautiful part about this whole thing, let me tell you, I've armed almost all my presidents now. All the presidents now know that Carmen will get them on TV in a second, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So Monica Morales from Channel 11, who is Monica, who makes it
Yep,
happen.
yep.
Well, Monica is my girl, and I have her everywhere. I'm always calling her, go over there, go over there, go over there. Now she's everywhere. You know.
Wow.
Tomorrow I will have Lisa Evans coming to my development because I have a building 868 where when you come in the building, the ceiling is falling.
Wow.
So you don't have to go to nobody's house.
You're already in danger.
You're
just
already
walking
in danger
the
as soon as
door.
you walking in the building. So we're gonna be talking about that tomorrow on Channel 5, and just keeping on with a lot of the things that are happening. This morning we had the city council hearings on, tenant participation. For the budget, and a lot of those monies are missing. They don't even. You really have to. This is the residents' money. You get money for every apartment. And now NYCHA, or resident engagement, is trying to dictate to how you spend that money. You're not in my development. You're not on the ground. How you know what my residents need? So there, and a lot of the presidents are being actually harassed by that, and they are not being allowed to use their TPA funds because they will stop their proposals, little minor crazy stuff, and we're really trying to get that changed.
NYCHA leadership, because I know it had come in, of course, before the woman who was
Shola.
So before Shola, we had
you had what's his name? Rear. John Rear.
John Rear. So walk me through in terms of competency, stuff that they were able to get done, feeling their hands were tied. Take it. What was it like?
And stop sugarcoating it for us.
Yeah.
Tell us how you
I
really
don't
feel.
sugarcoat nothing.
I was kidding.
I don't like my tongue, baby.
I remember one time I was at a meeting downtown, and John Rear was in charge. And I felt so bad for the senior citizens and the elderly people that lived in Brooklyn, where they told the people that night at the meeting that they had to find a place to go in 72 hours. They shut down their housing projects down there in Brooklyn.
Really? Just shut them down?
72 hours notice?
They gave everybody.
And people were supposed to find a place to live in 3 days?
Did you see the news the other day where where Ruben Diaz Jr. was on TV with this elderly man, 75 years old, who was getting his leg amputated, and when he came out of the hospital, they had locked his apartment, took all his stuff. He has no papers, no nothing, no birth certificate, no nothing. They just threw all his belongings out, and he was getting his leg amputated at the time.
That's crazy.
So this, and that's one of the few stories. But let me tell you something. Housing, they need to change it. They need to change everybody in it. Resident engagement from the top bottom needs to go. I think that taking people and putting them in different departments is not the key.
Right.
Because you can complain about somebody and they'll take them out there just to shut you up, and they will put them somewhere else. You're not solving the problem because
Right.
you're giving the problem to somebody else.
Right.
So this is the things that we keep talking about. These people that they put for chair people, for chairpersons, Shola Alate should have been in jail. They falsified information.
Indeed.
They falsified documents. They lied to the city council. Why aren't they in jail? Wow. And this is my thing, you know. And everybody tells me, Carmen, you better watch it. Listen, I gotta tell it like it is. I got 19 grandkids and 5 great-grand. What are you talking about? This is real. This is real stuff. This ain't, you know, ain't no sugar coating nothing. You know, the corruption is there, and a lot of our elected officials are part of that corruption.
Wow, incredible.
And it's sad.
And half of them don't even come and walk around the complex. They don't even come to see the people how they living or knock on their doors to say, but they want elections. When election time come, they want you to
They
vote.
right there.
Yeah, you know, then they want you to fill out these sheets. You want to fill this out for me to get to where we can be elected? You know what I'm saying? But come into the community. Go into these people's houses. See how these people's living. See how the elderly people's living. See how, I mean, it's so sad to see how we live in public housing. It hurts. I am even scared to stay in my building right now because it's so, when it rained the other day, you can smell the water in the bricks.
And the mildew.
And the mildew.
God.
You know, and we don't know how safe we are with these bricks, with all the water and stuff sitting in it. You know, do they ever think
And
about?
eventually, like, collapse.
Yeah.
But it really looks like, to tell you the truth, it looks like they are letting these developments deteriorate so that they can take it over. Remember, privatization is a big thing. And we are on prime real estate. At least I know that Douglas Houses is, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
so
So
we're
it'll just be a continuation of the Upper
Exactly.
West Side. You're right.
Exactly. And so this is all prime real estate. And so, of course, they're selling us out. They have no choice. One senator told me, I had on a talk show just like this, and I says, well, I want to know why you guys are not paying attention to these residents and you paying attention to everybody else. They said, you know what? White people stick together. Not only that, you know, that's where the money at.
Exactly.
That's where the money at.
And you
So because we're poor and we live in public housing and have no money, right?
And I
so
bet
then
you
we
don't
don't matter.
vote. I bet
We
you
don't
don't
matter.
vote. That's been the
You
other
know,
thing.
and that's not
Yeah.
true because we do vote. A lot of more people need to vote, and that I think that's the key. Not only that, public housing, we have over 1 million people, and I really strongly encourage all of people in public housing that can and should run for public office. We need to get these people out. Period. People need to come out. I always said I wanted the street shut down. The same way they came out to rally against Trump. Why aren't you out in the street shutting these streets down for your home? It's your home.
And the reality is that once public housing is gone, where are people going to go? You know, we got to remember that these buildings were built between 1945, the early ones, through maybe 1970.
Yes.
And many of those houses that were built and whatnot were built and painted with lead paint.
Yes.
And
True,
we also
true.
must remember that there's about 365 different
Big
developments.
developments.
There's 175,000 apartments, and there's about 1 million people that are living in public housing. So if New York City public housing falls, and when we're talking about housing development across the nation is going, and the other reality is that we're talking about structural
Chicago.
damage. We're talking about these buildings are 70 years old. And so, of course, there are going to be some structural issues in terms of the lead, the asbestos, and things of that nature. And the federal government, HUD, is the federal government. And they are the biggest part of NYCHA's budget. And so we need more, not less, we need more money coming from the federal government to fix these apartments up. Now, I grew up in the Wagner houses. Wagner houses, Jefferson, Johnson, they are considered waterfront properties. And the reality is that we have a TA president who tells our folks all the time, you know what? In the Wagner houses, there used to be PS 80 on the corner of 120th Street and First Avenue. Now there's a new building there. And what NYCHA wanted to do with their Generation 1 project is that they wanted to build on top of the parks, where the parking garages. They wanted to make buildings there, and they wanted to give those to private companies. Now, those private companies could pick and choose who they want to have in those buildings.
Absolutely.
And they're going to choose those who have higher incomes. So I've worked with Dr. Lenore Fulani and with the with her organization. And basically, there's other organizations that's out there, on the front lines that's trying to make a difference and trying to make sure that the tenants understand that you have the power, that you don't work for those public officials. Those public officials work for you. That's right. And so we have to make sure that our elected officials are standing up to Trump, that they are asking for the money, and that they're not BSing our people. And now we talked about a little bit earlier about the Harlem Economic Zone. But who did it really empower?
That's right.
And so, as Carmen said, we have some of our own elected officials that are selling us out. We have to make sure that we keep our boots on the ground and that we keep those elected officials in line with the tunes of the people. Because without the people, there's nothing.
Yeah. And it's just really sad every day is a challenge for me. Every day I find that, I'm so glad I'm God's child because I have to pray. I pray all the time. I pray when I'm walking. I pray when I look at somebody, because it's really sad that here in the United States, we're going through this, right? But I want to also say that just as our elected officials are at fault, we too have to take some ownership of what we've done because we've allowed this. Every time an elected official tells you, well, I am running, and you give them the okay, you're not doing yourself a favor. You have to learn how. I always say that our residents need to learn how to vote. Not to vote, but how to vote. Because if you know that your elected official has not come into your development, why are you voting for him? Why do you keep voting for them?
Absolutely.
Right? Even when this all blew up, because when I was actually the one that blew all this up, but all the elected officials came out and they all took photo ops. And my thing was, why are you in here taking photo ops when you have an office in that district, whatever district you're in, you have an office. You're not going to tell me that residents never came into your office to complain about conditions that they had. So how are you all of a sudden hearing about this right now? Unless you're not doing your job, unless your office is not doing their job. You cannot tell me that you did not know about this.
So on the local level, who would you say has been a good advocate in trying to get some stuff done on the local level?
On the local level, Manhattan Borough President Gail Brewer.
Okay.
She's been really out there. She always, she's always on the move. Fulani has been out there with me. She's on the move too, with her group, NYCHA. We've had pretty, in all honesty, you know what? I don't give accolades like that. Okay. Especially to elected officials that I know that are perpetrating a fraud. right? So I don't come out here and just say, oh, well, you know, this one's doing the right thing, this one's doing the right thing. Because when I turn around, you're doing something back, right? And you're doing it behind my back, but I'm going to find out any damn way, right?
And we've had town hall meetings at Frederick Douglass houses. That's where I've seen her at. I've seen folks like our new, well, he's not new that.
I like
now,
Brian Benjamin.
But
Okay.
Adriano
Brian Benjamin is on
has
the
come
money.
out.
Our state senator.
Yeah, okay,
Adriano has
gotcha.
come out.
Okay, okay. Now, okay.
And
I saw her put a lid back or something, so that's okay. That's okay.
well, like I said, I'm just talking about who showed up.
Oh, they showed up, yeah.
They showed up.
Oh, yeah, they'll show up. For a photo op, anybody shows up.
I have
So, you know what?
Photo op,
I
anybody
watched
shows
them
up.
fail.
That's one thing I would like to ask. How long has it been since the vents? I don't know if you have vents in your bathroom.
Oh, Mom, but them vents
They haven't been
worked in
cleaned.
ages.
Do you know how long the vents haven't been cleaned? I'm gonna tell you. The last time we did the vents was cleaned was 1985 because I did it with them.
And this is why mold is growing in the bathrooms because there's no air coming through. There's no ventilation.
And there's no windows in the
And
bathroom.
there's no windows.
So, of course.
So we're going to take a break, play a little bit of music, and then come back with our guests.
And find out how NYCHA, if you're listening, how we're going to move the needle. We need to move the needle.
Get it together.
Yes.
That's right.
Get it together. Get out.
Ooh, it's something. You and I have something. How I long to be around when you can see that you and I have something in common. Oh, it's something when you can see that. And I'm sure of one thing, how I long to be around when you can see that you and I have something in common. It's been a revelation, yeah. You've been an inspiration to me, and there is not one question, no, where my heart will run to. Ooh, it's something. You and I have something. I don't want to lose this fun thing when you can see that you and I have something in common. I can't believe we've been so blind. Looks like we've wasted so much time. There's not a note that rings untrue. Said when I'm with you.
Back on Earth, trying to wreak some havoc. Dang, that was crazy. What just happened? Just happened. times, but nothing millions of times. I guess that's where when we die. But I'm back as an indigo, back in the density, back to the days of three, back to the days of me, back to the days where we see trees are separate, not a part of me. Intelligence is the key. If you can unlock your mind before you unlock your eyes, so you can transcend the times. Let's go down to the beach, get something to eat, maybe for you and me. Let's look out at the stars and see who we are, baby, for you and me. Take a bit of water now. You'll be looking frustrated when I be saying things like now. I'm trying to figure it out, so take a bit of dinner now. I swear it tastes great. When you try to tell me all you're feeling, it never goes my way. It never goes my way. When it comes to you, when it comes to me, when it comes to us, oh I know it's not that easy. But why isn't it? Why isn't it? Why isn't it you? Try to tell me, try to feel the things I do when I'm healthy, but you have too many appointments. Try to figure it out. So take a bit of water now. You'll be looking frustrated when I be saying things like now. I'm trying to figure it out. 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 No. So take a bit of water now. You be looking
DJ LeRoy.
frustrated when
Yeah, I know you say
saying
it just once a week, but no. Okay, you get some props on that, Night Watchman.
I earn my own props. I don't need validation from you.
Oh, wow. See, guess this is how it gets live, a lively discussion. You know, I thought just talking about NYCHA was keeping it live.
Yeah. Well, we got to keep it interesting, you know. But everybody knows I love DJ LeRoy, so we've been doing this since way before we had the radio show.
Because I'm not gonna say, but he was a DJ from way back, right?
Mm-hmm.
They used to remember back in the day carrying the records crates.
Yes.
That's it. That's it.
That's why we love technology now. Easier on the back.
I know that's right.
And before that, of course, you heard Layla Hathaway.
What's up? But I didn't mention who that was. So that was for our listeners.
Oh, you didn't? Oh,
that was Willow Smith, daughter
gotcha.
of Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith.
Exactly.
Yes.
And before that, I had a daughter too, and that daughter, of course,
Layla Hathaway.
That's
yes.
right, Donnie Hathaway's daughter.
Yep.
And she was featured there with Snarky Puppy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So NYCHA,
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah. So,
What?
all right. So we have a few minutes to wrap up. I want to hear from you guys. What are the
Strategies?
top things on top of your list that need to be done like right away?
Yeah.
Well, I have actually put a little group together. It's called SCORE. And it has to do with CCOP chairs, a consultant, and myself. And as I said before, we are in the trenches with the regional director, Lynn Patton. And we are also working with the monitor. And they've asked us to come up with solutions.
Okay.
And so we just sent that to them. And
this was a list of various solutions.
Yeah, various solutions on how and what would make it work. We had a very good partnership years ago with New York City Housing Authority. What has happened is that New York City Housing Authority has lost respect for the residents and for the leadership.
Okay.
And so
Gotcha.
I would love to see that back again. And as I told Lynn, we need to work on that. Because in all honesty, we can keep tossing and turning and throwing stones, and this is not going to get us anywhere.
Correct.
We have to become partners. We have to respect each other and work together. And what New York City Housing Authority needs to realize is that we're their best advocates and that we're on the ground. And they need to talk to us. And there needs to be transparency, right, so that we can move forward. So I am working on a lot of those solutions. I can't talk about them now because we haven't gotten the response.
Okay.
But it is happening. We also have a bill of particulars that we put together. So we are working toward that. Lee Score is, because I know that there's a lot of dysfunction, not only in New York City Housing Authority, but also with the leadership of CCOP and ICOP and all the chairs. So we have to take ownership, right, of what we're doing wrong, right? And so that's why those solutions were put together, so that we can fix it.
So let's say you get a response from the NYCHA authorities. Will you be in a position to share those particular points?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. I
Good.
mean, that's what we want to do. Again, it's about transparency. And this is not about it's not about us. It's about everyone. This is about 1 million people living in public housing, and someone has to take that lead. And let me tell you something. I am honored and I am humbled that I was chosen to go to the White House. I
Absolutely.
am honored and
Absolutely.
humbled. And if this is going to lead to getting what we need, then I've done God's work. I've done my work, right? But again, it's going to take all of us together. Not only Carmen Quinones, because it ain't about Carmen. It's about all 1 million residents, and we have to stick together. We have a lot of good groups on the ground. Like Mark. Mark is in the trenches. Mark calls me all the time. What I don't know, Mark is I can pull out this phone and you can see all the texts. And so we need to be at those public hearings. We need to be at City Hall. And it's not only the leaders, the residents have to partake. They have to do their job. It is their apartments, their homes that are being sold.
Absolutely. Tell me this. So I was down in downtown Manhattan around the 20s, around 24th Street, 8th, 9th Avenue, whatever.
Chelsea House is down
That's
there.
for sure,
Okay.
yeah.
Seems like a very different demographic. Am I correct?
It is a very different demographic, but they have the same problem.
But they have the same problems.
Okay.
Still-
that was my.
That's
That's
because
where I was going.
in
Okay.
Chelsea, it's Felicia Gordon. She's down there, and Felicia Gordon only has one building. So it's very different. It's not everything is not the same,
Right.
But there are some of the same things happening.
Got it.
In those places.
Okay.
And again, we have to worry about the leadership that is representing. We have a lot of people that have been presidents for ages and ages, and really they can't do it. We now, with the new technology that's being placed, most of our presidents that are seniors do not know how to use computers. They don't know how to download. They don't know how to scan. And so New York City Housing has made it very hard for them, right, to partake and do things for their residents. Because in order to get the monies, you have to know how to download. You have to know how to use the computer. Most of our seniors don't know how to do that. And so there needs to be training, and those are one of the solutions I was talking about. How do you train them? How do you train the leadership, right? Because we're always teaching New York City Housing Authority.
How to do certain
We're the
things.
ones teaching them,
them,
but they want to control, and there are rules. There is a Bible that we call a Bible, which is the 964 regulations that NYCHA has, that was put in place by HUD, and NYCHA does not adhere to it at all. and that is our Bible. And so, there's just so many different avenues that we need to correct. And I am praying and hoping that, the solutions that SCORE came up with, that the monitor and, the regional director will give us some feedback in it, because actually they've asked us to do it. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I'm just waiting. I definitely we sent it out yesterday. So.
Now, speaking of the new monitor, would that be Bart Schwartz?
Bart Schwartz, yes.
What type of person is he? Is Bart?
Well, actually, Bart Schwartz, I was the first one to have him at a foreign meeting. And, of course, me, I'm crazy, so I had Channel 11 there. So they weren't ready for me. But I took it to the TV. He is really for the residents. He made that very clear. Okay. He said, I am not here. I am not here for HUD. And I definitely am not here for NYCHA. I am here for the residents to make sure that this is right. And so it's a beautiful thing. I've met him on a couple of occasions now. Like I said, we're trying to work together to bring the pieces together. Okay. But my idea, Mark, and most of all, is that we need a partnership. New York City Housing is the biggest entity in anywhere, and we need to be partners. Let's try to bring that back and stop attacking each other.
I definitely agree, and I know that living in NYCHA, I know that we have a lot of problems. One of the things that the Harlem Emergency Network would love to have the opportunity to do is to work with the residents of NYCHA, to work with the leadership of NYCHA to bring emergency awareness to our residents.
Yes. Because to call me up,
because
Yeah.
you talked about
so folks, we're running out of time here. We're going to wrap up. So I want to thank our guests, Mark McPhee, Carmen Quinones, and Roxanne Reid, who are giving us a on the ground view of what's going on, as well as the policy view, because our people went and talked to the president. But seriously, we are appreciative of the work that you're doing, and you always have a home here at the Soul Lounge Primetime to help get your message out.
Thank you so much for having us. Really,
definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Tune in again next.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.